All right, this is Ubaid on behalf of V Electronics, and in this video, we're going to talk about developing the research plan. Okay, when it comes to developing a research plan, this is the second stage of your marketing research, and this covers three types of information. Okay, three types of data. One is primary, secondary, and the last one is syndicated. So this is primary, okay, secondary, and syndicated. So secondary and syndicated. So when it comes to your primary data collection method, okay, basically what you're doing is you're collecting data from primary sources. Okay, so you're collecting information through an experiment that you may have designed for a particular research. Okay, you may be collecting data from, let's just say, from observation. Okay, based on your research. You may be collecting data based on a survey that you may have designed for your consumers for your research, or it could be a focus group data. Okay, so primary data, for example, okay, let's say experiments. An example of experiments would be clinical trials, for example, where study sponsors may issue clinical trials for testing their medication, where they would have volunteers, okay, test their medication, and they would analyze the blood reports of those volunteers to see how that medication impacts that individual or their bloodstream. Okay, so this would be an example of experiment. Apart from an experiment, you also have focus group data, okay, observation and surveys. So surveys. All right, next you have secondary data. Now, when it comes to your secondary data, we're talking about data that's collected, let's say, from a census for an election. All right, so government collects data for elections. Government collects data for Stats Canada, okay, the website. As a result of which, if you get your information for your research from Stats Canada, for example, this is um, a research in Canada, then you will go ahead, okay, and list this information as secondary data source, right? Because it's coming from a secondary source. Now, apart from a secondary source, you also have, okay, things like surveys done for another study, for example. So we talked about clinical trials and experiments. Okay, so if you did a survey or if you did an experiment for a similar study with a similar medication, in that case, you'll be collecting data or information, okay, for your research from past studies, from past experiments. Okay, now apart from that, you also have something called syndicated data. Okay, this is the last type. Okay, so again, this is similar studies and experiments. And syndicated is something that's collected by third-party sources. So you may assign a freelancer, for example, to collect data on your behalf. And this person may go door to door collecting data. All right, so this could be on Fiverr, this could be on freelancer.com, Upwork, so on and so forth. All right, now apart from that, okay, it could have a subscription service as well. So the business may be offering a subscription service to collect data on your behalf. And this would be an example of syndicated data. So this is subscription service based, subscription service based. All right, so again, you have primary, secondary, and syndicated data. On behalf of V Electronics, this is Obey. Have yourself a great day.